You don't need to cook meth to lose yourself. Just work 10 years in silence. Keep showing up early. Keep saying all good, when it's not. Keep nodding when your boss says, "We'll revisit your comp next quarter." That was me. I wasn't in a hazmat suit. I was in a lanyard and khakis. Eating microwave mac and cheese at 9:30 p.m. Scrolling Zillow with $11.43 in my checking account. I'd save listings like they were porn. Places I'd never afford. Lives I'd never live. I didn't have work friends. I wasn't in my boss's league, and I was no longer one of the crew. I was the lonely middle layer. Too tired to text anyone back. Too tired to show up to anything after work. 10 years in. I'm almost 34 now. Still proving myself. Still waiting for something. Anything. An imaginary promotion. A transfer to Spain. Or outer space. Anywhere but here. Until one day, I caught myself fantasizing about walking out mid-meeting. Not to go viral. Not to chase a dream. Just to disappear. No 2 weeks' notice. No plan. Just gone. Because the scariest part wasn't how much I hated the job. It was how little I cared anymore. And that's when it hit me. I hadn't been climbing. I'd been erasing myself. One polite reply at a time. Here's what I told myself. Every night before passing out with Slack still open. If I stay humble. Stay late. Stay grinding until the dead of night. They'll notice. They'll gift card me. Know my name. Transfer me to Spain. I told myself the 10 p.m. meetings, weekend emails. Hey, just quickly. Slack messages. Were the cost of climbing the ladder. This is just the season. It's like this at this level. I'm somebody with a title now. But that season didn't end. The ladder just kept going. The title got weirder. Senior Solutions Lead. What does that even mean? I thought I'd feel proud. I felt nothing. Not because I hated the job. But because I was still chasing a moment. That was never going to arrive. Once I get promoted, then I'll feel successful. Once I get a team, then I'll feel respected. Once I get to Spain. I even bookmarked a co-working space in Madrid. Just in case. I didn't realize the moment I'd break was already on its way. It didn't happen in some big dramatic way. I didn't storm out of a meeting. I didn't flip a table. I just cracked. Quietly. I was updating a slide deck, version 17. Because someone wanted the arrows to feel more aspirational. They need to point toward growth, she said. Not just point. Feel. I'd skipped lunch. Skipped sleep. And somewhere between aligning boxes. And pretending to care. I stopped. Just stared at my screen. There was a tab open with Aman Ghazi's face staring at me. A 24-year-old who took a bet on himself. And here I was, almost 34. Designing arrows for a quarterly business review. Slack messages kept coming in. I didn't open them. Not because I was angry. But because I couldn't remember why any of it mattered. That was the moment. Not a breakdown. Not a tantrum. Just stillness. Like my brain hit pause on the lie. And asked, are we really doing this for another 10 years? I didn't quit. I didn't flip the script. I didn't even reply to the Slack messages. I just closed the tab. For the first time in months. I didn't finish the deck. I shut the laptop. Sat there. Then I got up. Walked outside, into the glaring sun. Crossed the street. And just stood there. Face tilted up. Eyes closed. Not because I wanted a tan. But because I needed to feel something real. To know I was still alive. A body with a beating heart. A car honked a few blocks over. I flinched. I'd forgotten what outside sounded like. I probably looked insane. I didn't care. It was my Truman Show moment. No badge. No buzzword. Just a guy standing in the street like a weirdo. Something about standing there. Sun in my face. Not checking the time. Not performing for anyone. Felt honest. Like I existed. Like I wasn't just someone's calendar entry anymore. It wasn't a breakthrough. It wasn't a plan. It was sunlight. And for the first time in forever. It wasn't behind a window. I couldn't sleep. My brain wouldn't shut up. Spain was still calling. In fluent delusion. So I opened a blank page. Not for work. Not for the deck. Just space. I wrote 3 sentences. One idea I had. One thing I wanted to try. One reason I'd never done it. The first line was literally, what if I just left? The second line? Start a YouTube channel? I laughed. Then cringed. I almost deleted both. I was hunched over on the couch. legs numb. Hoodie older than most interns. But I felt something. Not pride. Just spark. Like my brain coughed. And then remembered it still worked. The deck was still due. I was still fixing arrows that pointed toward growth. But made me feel like I was dying. Fuck it. I didn't care. This was mine. And no one clapped. Thank God. The next morning, I woke up to 42 Slack messages. Hey, just checking in. Quick bump on this. Any updates? The deck was still late. My boss had sent a calendar invite. 15 minutes. No agenda. I almost canceled it. I didn't want to see his face. Didn't want to hear the word, Titan, one more time. Instead, I showed up early. Smiled. Said yep, all good. I was back. Back to aligning the arrows. Back to pretending I still cared. Back to the polite nods. The great points. The muted mic claps. But something had shifted. I felt stupid for getting excited about a Google Doc. Who did I think I was? They say do what you love. But they never mentioned the spreadsheets. Or the Slack pings at 7 a.m. This is why people don't change. Because the inbox always wins. I opened it again during lunch. Just stared at it. It didn't feel like much. But it felt truer. Then the 17 slides I was killing myself to update. I'm on to version 25 now. About to rename it to Final. I watched my cursor blink. And realized it looked more alive than me. I wasn't ready to leave. Still saving for the 6-month emergency fund. I was logged in. But I wasn't plugged in. And that was new. For the first time in years. The system didn't fully have me. I kept going back to the doc. Adding 1 line. Deleting 2. It felt kinda stupid. Like pass and go in Monopoly. And not knowing if I could survive the next round. I wrote this 1 line. What would it take to make this real? I didn't know. So I googled it. Spent the next 2 hours falling down a rabbit hole. Got distracted. Added a few things to my cart I didn't need. Then I wrote down random things I could try. Blog posts. YouTube videos. Reddit threads from people I used to roll my eyes at. Day trading. Airbnb arbitrage. When I work that one out, I'll let you know. Passive income from print-on-demand t-shirts. With the slogan 9 to 5 trading on them? Most of it was trash. But it cracked something open. It wasn't genius. Hell, it wasn't even a good idea. But it was a start. The momentum I needed. And for the first time in a long time. I thought, why the fuck not? It didn't happen all at once. There was no Jerry Maguire moment. No dramatic music. No viral tweet. Just little things. I changed my desktop background. Not to something motivational. Just a picture of Mabea. A gentle reminder that Spain was still calling. I unsubscribed from productivity hacks. Sorry, Ali Abdul. I wrote a list called I'm only 34. I wrote it like a reminder. Not an excuse. Every night, I added 1 line to the doc. Some were laughable. Some were silly as batshit. One actually might have worked. I built a tiny Notion template. It got 3 downloads. I laughed. Then I made another. I wasn't a business. I wasn't even a creator. But I was starting to feel like someone with options. And after 10 years of being optimized, scheduled, and salaried, that feeling alone was a fucking revolution. Maybe not Madrid. But maybe. I used to think freedom was a number. 6 figures. Keeping up with Tyler's lifestyle creep. Knew this. Knew that. And that arbitrary 6-month emergency fund. An apartment in Madrid. Maybe with a little terrace. Where I could finally breathe. And no longer be plugged in. But I think the real freedom came earlier. It wasn't in a resignation letter. It wasn't on a terrace in Madrid. It was the moment I realized. I wasn't the guy aligning arrows anymore. I wasn't busting my guts. Over a final version of a presentation deck no one gives a fuck about. I wasn't waiting to be approved. Or optimized. I don't need to earn rest. Or prove pain. Or be useful to matter. Or be part of a system that no longer made sense. I didn't need to have a business. Or be a creator. I just needed one crazy, delusional little doc that made me think. Maybe I don't need to settle. Not for content. Not for LinkedIn. Just for me. Spain can wait. But I won't. I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying, listen for the moment when your brain stops nodding. The moment when, final, doesn't even make you flinch. That's the crack, which means something inside you is already shifting. The question is, what do you do with that? If you want to know how to build something real, when all you've known is survival. Watch this next. If you're ambitious but broke, please watch this video. It's not a pep talk. It's the blueprint I wish I had sooner.